Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's cnHeat webinar featuring MontanaSky. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Dan Sullivan, Cambium Networks Director of RF Planning. Dan, when you're ready, you can take things from here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Sullivan, and today with me are two people. First is Ryan Bowman. He's CEO of MontanaSky Networks, and Ryan is going to share a little bit about MontanaSky and the use of cnHeat. Also with me is Seth Boucher. Seth is the technical leader for cnHeat. And so the idea here is after Ryan provides an overview of MontanaSky and his experience with cnHeat, we want to just basically open it up for questions from anybody in the audience. And Olivia, who introduced the webinar, will provide the questions to us to answer. And so we encourage you especially to ask questions of Ryan and his experience and how it could pertain to you. With that, let's go forward. And Ryan, why don't you talk to a little bit about MontanaSky Networks here and who you are and your vision for you and your company.
Hey, well, thanks so much for having me today. Really appreciate it. So as you can see on the slide, if you're logged in there, we're in the northwest portion of Montana is what we serve. Specifically, we're in kind of the Glacier Park region. That's how most people know about us, because most people know where Glacier Park is. We've been an ISP for 25 years, going way back to the dial-up days. We were really big into DSL, and then, as you all know, DSL started to suck more and more, and we saw a huge decline in subscribers. And about 2.5 years ago, we kind of went all in on wireless. And luckily for us, we did choose to drink the Cambium Kool-Aid, so we kind of went in all in with those guys. And most recently, we were introduced to cnHeat, which we were super excited about. We have about 1,200 subscribers on wireless now. We're distributing from 24 tower locations, and we have a pretty challenging geography where we're at, where you have a lot of trees, mountains, hills, rolling hills, which I guess a lot of WISPs encounter, but we feel like we have it the worst. But cnHeat has really been an awesome product for us in a lot of ways. A couple of things I'll highlight before we open to questions is one of our big challenges was obviously me and the guys putting up the towers and installing stuff. They had a pretty good idea of where our network was and where it was covered because they're out driving all day long and know the terrain. But our salespeople in the office, they really, really struggled to know, hey, where can we cover? Where does the wireless go? Because when you're just looking at a map and everything's flat looking, it's really, really difficult to know that, hey, there's this big rolling hill here. Hey, there's this big hedge of trees here that are 200 feet tall that we're not going to get through. So the cnHeat map has been really awesome for our internal sales staff, knowing, hey, when should we order a survey? When is it just a no-go? It saved a tremendous amount of time. And something I wanted to bring up so I don't forget, from the installer perspective, the guys that are doing the surveys, is they're able to get an idea of, hey, I'm out here for this survey. Where do I need to check? Do I need to check all over the property? Do I need to check all over the roof? But they've actually been utilizing the cnHeat map to say, okay, well, the computer says that we should be able to get it on the northwest corner of the roof. And so they know where they should at least do their radio test. And this time of year, when there's snow all over the ground and conditions are dangerous, they're really grateful that they're not, tromping around on a roof any more than they need to. So those are the just two of the highlights that I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions with our experience so far with the product.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. I'll just quickly go to the next slide. And you reference a future feature that we'd like to do, and I think you're waiting on, but you actually show your cnHeat heat map on your website It's something that your internally you guys look at, but you kind of whetted the appetite of customers. So what are your thoughts about this, and where would you like to go with it?
So, I mean, obviously with any business to scale, you have to have some automation in place. I mean, if you're, taking 200 calls a day for people that are outside your service area, it's just wasting everybody's time and burning a lot of cycles. So where we would really love to get with this product, and we hope Cambium goes with it, is some customer-facing pre-qualifications. So customer can go to your website, see your coverage, enter an address, and get an idea of, hey, I might be able to get this or probably not. We've tried some other products in the past and have been largely unsuccessful. I imagine some of you on the line have tried out tower coverage. We found with that, it was just so finicky, and we literally spent 6 months trying to tweak that thing to make it usable. Whereas this has been nice. We send in our link planner files, and a week later, lo and behold, here's our coverage map. Another thing, this is kind of a little bit off your question, but another thing we've used this for is we've had 3 potential tower sites that we were evaluating. And in the past, basically how we evaluated that is we'd have a tower climber go up, take some pictures, count some houses, and that's how we determine whether we should expand to that site or not. Just recently with this, we had the Cambium team put up 3 tower sites up that we were looking at, and we were able to look at a map and see where this coverage area was pretty exactly, and we were able to greenlight 2 projects and kill 1. So we thought that was really cool.
Thank you. Appreciate the sharing of that project we did with you. With that, we would love to hear questions so that Ryan can answer what's on your mind specific to your needs. So with that, Olivia, do you have questions that you can provide for Ryan and us? Set the night.
Sure. Here's the first question that I have. It says, does cnHeat work better than tower coverage?
In my experience, it's night and day. So how we vetted tower coverage is we built it, and then we put a sampling of, say, 20 addresses into it and got the predicted signal strengths and all that, and compared it to actual, and it was so hit and miss. We'd have 5 customers that tower coverage said weren't even serviceable, but they had great signals. Again, we spent months tweaking with that to try to get it to work. I think the biggest difference is the cnHeat is using a different type of mapping data. I think it's called LiDAR, I believe, and it's much more accurate as far as what's actually in your area, not what they're just predicting is in your area.
Yep, and I heard you mention LiDAR. How is the LiDAR data in your area? Is your service area covered?
So you can see on the slide, the densely populated areas are covered. We do have some areas to the west and east that aren't shown up on this map because there is no LiDAR data. I know cnHeat is good because our CSRs just like cry when somebody calls from one of the areas that aren't covered now because they don't know what to tell them without doing a lot more old school surveys and just line of sight topo maps and things. So our area is covered fairly well. I mean, obviously we'd like to see more, but you take what you can get.
I had a follow-up question on that, Ryan. How much training did it take to use cnHeat for your CSRs and to be able to utilize the product and help the end customer?
I'd say it was pretty minimal. I mean, obviously it's a new product, so we're learning as we go still a bit. Many of the colors are pretty self-explanatory. One thing I'd like to see, if it was ever possible, is to have the little P on the map itself, so we know what color means what signal strength. But I mean, it's pretty no-brainer. I mean, you put in an address and it zooms in and there's a color. And that's that.
So I actually wanted to ask you a different question offhand so today you get two things. You get like actual coverage. It shows you where exactly on the building you can install. And it also shows you the RSSI colors. How important are the RSSI colors to you in addition to knowing exactly where to install?
I think that they're important for a couple of reasons. So, I mean, obviously, if it's right at your threshold and it looks like there's hardly any coverage on the property, it's probably not going to work out. So at least we know that. In our area too, we have a couple different radios that we'll use. So we have the mid gains, the high gains. We still have some of the old 450Ds in stock that had a little bit more gain. So it gives us, the installers, an idea of what kind of equipment they're going to need when they go out, so they're not unprepared.
And okay, oh shoot, I had the question and I lost it. Right. Okay.
I have another question.
I'll ask it later. Go ahead.
Why did you decide to buy cnHeat?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, first of all, maps are cool, so we always want to try out new stuff. But I guess, I mean, if I looked at the key benefits, it's ease of getting it built. So our internal staff doesn't have to try to build these maps. We send the link planner file, like I mentioned, to Cambium, and they kind of massage and do all the data. One thing we haven't brought up yet, but is a benefit that we're trying out as we speak, is the CN Identify that goes along with this, which allows us to basically get a list of addresses that are within that service area. So you can let Cambium know what threshold you want to use for signal strength, and they'll give you a list of addresses or a marketing firm. And we've actually done a direct mailing to about 1,500 customers so far. And it does take some time to get results. So I don't have like perfect data on how effective it's been, but I mean, I do know for this December, we've already sold more than we sold last December, and it's only the 10th. So I'm pretty sure these direct marketing efforts are really helping out. Adding on to that, the way we did direct mail before was just the postal routes, which in our area is really, really tough because the postal routes are huge. So we would do that and send it out to, a couple thousand people, but 3/4 of them are probably outside of your coverage area. So you get a lot of frustrated people calling in and think they can get faster internet, and it turns out that they're not even close. So with this mailing list, it's a lot more targeted. So our leads that come in have a lot higher close rate.
Thank you. I remember my question. The RSSI values that we provide on cnHeat, how accurate have you found them to be? We often get that question, and we wanted to get your feedback.
It's not perfect by any means. I mean, there's some areas where I'm like, there's no way we have coverage there in kind of these fringe areas. But I mean, we're smart enough to be able to get rid of that. I would say, if anything, they're a little conservative rather than aggressive. So we're seeing actual installs at a couple RSSI better than predicted. But that's a good thing too. So you're not wasting time on survey. So I would find it really accurate. I mean, compared to any other product we've used.
Thank you. Okay, Olivia, I finished with my question line that I remembered finally.
All right. Compared to other RF planning tools, would you say that cnHeat is more worth it?
I mean, my only other experience of our tools we've used obviously Link Planner, which isn't great for just frontline sales staff because it takes too long to set up a new link. And we've tried tower coverage out. We've used some internal tools where it's basically it just uses elevation to rule out is there a mountain in the way kind of thing. So out of everything we've tried, it's definitely the best. That said, I haven't tried everything that's on the market, but I've been really happy with this so far.
And we have another question that came in from someone asking, is this Cambium only, or can you build a custom radio profile? That might be more for Dan.
Yeah, I'll turn this over to Seth. Seth, will you answer the question?
I thought I was going to be able to make it through the whole thing without having to comment. No, yeah, we can. we can absolutely.
I actually kind of did that intentionally too.
I
So,
know. Yeah, if as long as the customer can provide the details, we have to have, either a 2D or a 3D antenna pattern if it's a third, if it's not Cambium, and we need to know, some of the operating parameters of the radio, but we can model other radios, absolutely.
So, for example, recently we've been doing some RF element horns. They seem to be quite popular, and we've been able to put those into the modeling. They're often combined with like a EPMP 3000 now. And then we do get requests for radios that aren't Cambium, and we can basically take care of them too.
Another question, have you found extra customers using cnHeat?
I mean, it's pretty early on to say, yes, this has changed our entire business. But I mean, it's been promising so far. I mean, if anything, it gives you, hey, we didn't even know we covered that neighborhood. Now we can send somebody out door to door doing that. Again, from a planning standpoint, just when we've launched a couple tower sites that we thought were going to be awesome, and they turned out to be big duds because of terrain that we didn't really expect. And so just being able to rule out one of the 3 tower sites that we were considering using this tool was big for us. I mean, that's a $10,000 to $30,000 project to put up a new site or more, depending if you're having to build the tower. So that saved a lot of money. I think I'll be able to better answer that in like 2 months after all of our marketing has gone out and we see the success rate on that. One thing we did do is on this new site, we're launching a site kind of on the west shore of our lake, and the customers are really hard to find because they're kind of in bays and down these weird driveways, and it's really hard to get to them doing door-to-door stuff. A lot of them don't have addresses that are marked very well. So we sent out 700 mailers for a site that we'll be launching this month, and we're really hoping to get some pre-sale orders on this tower before it is actually live.
How else has cnHeat helped you? Has it eliminated truck rolls?
So I mentioned earlier, it's helped the installers a lot with the site survey. So within the cnHeat area, we won't roll a site survey if it's showing that it's not covered, period. So that has eliminated a lot of just useless site surveys. But when the actual guys are out there doing the survey, they can kind of see on the property, hey, where's this predicted to have coverage? So if it's saying, hey, it looks like they can see it from the yard on a 5-foot pole mount, we can go and test right where it shows and see if there actually is coverage there. So yeah, I would say that it's been saving time on unneeded surveys.
Dan, did you have any other questions? I didn't see any others come in.
I have one question because we can get feedback. People often ask about tower coverage, and we cost more than tower coverage. Ryan, just your thoughts about the cost of cnHeat and the value it provides, and has it proved worth it for you compared to like what tower coverage costs?
Yeah, I don't even remember what tower coverage cost, but it never worked for us. So whatever it was too much. I mean, I think I've seen cnHeat for all of the free engineering you get up front. I mean, the product is really reasonably priced. The Cambium team has been really accommodating to us as far as helping us get a new site modeled and tweaking a couple things here and there for us as we need. So I mean, the fact that you're getting not only a subscription but some actual personal assistance when needed is pretty big. It's not just a big automated tool that you put in a credit card and they say, here you go, good luck. Now you actually have humans backing it. So I haven't found it to be overly expensive. I mean, for our 24 sites, I think we're at, I don't know, $200 a month or something. It's really not that bad.
Well, thank you. Is that it on the questions, Olivia?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your time with us here for the webinar to share your experience. Is there anything else you'd like to share to the folks or people that you might be wanting to talk to in Kalispell?
No, I don't really have anything else to add, but I do appreciate your time and inviting me. And yeah, we got, so if we want to try this again and maybe we can get some more people on board, I'm happy to do it again.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your help.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much, and everyone have a happy holiday.
Yeah, you too, Ryan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
All
Dan,
right, take
Seth,
care.
and Ryan. Thanks. We'll have a
Bye.
recording of today's webinar posted to Cambium Networks YouTube channel and to our online community. Thank you for joining and have a good day.